You're listening to The Lead on News 24 with your host, broadcast journalist Graeme Robenheimer.
Fraudulent payments, missing municipal funds, bribes to wipe service providers' debt. Well, 40-year-old mother of one, Martha Mani Rantsofu, was no ordinary junior finance clerk in Gauteng's Emfuleni local municipality, because by our accounts, she was a whistleblower knocking on some dangerous doors. Whilst the Gauteng Political Killings Task Team takes a closer look at her hit, News 24 journalist Ntwagaae Seleka details how the Vaal region has fallen into rack and ruin, with only Emfuleni to blame for the growing mess.
A source that is from someone who was very close to, however, I didn't want to mention the identity of that person because Martha complained about this other scam that is happening in the municipality. She would see millions that would go into the revenue account of the municipality. But those millions don't have reference. It will be money that comes from anywhere, just flying and lands on the municipality's revenue account. And whenever she inquires about that or flag that to her seniors, within hours, those funds have disappeared.
Later, we'll end off with On This Day in South African history, looking back as Desmond Tutu was elected Bishop of Cape Town.
New episodes of The Lead air Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m.
Which comes before Rauby's Pointless Fry Quiz. And our question today is this: which country are Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, visiting in their very first trip since ending things with the royal family? I'll give you that answer a little later, so stick around. My name's Graeme Robenheimer, this is The Lead, and this is the South African story. Moving to our top story today, while he's constantly out in the field, he's a busy roving reporter, a journalist of note, and someone you want to have your back out on a story. Well, he's the ever-resilient Ntwagaae Seleka, and he's live with me now from the Vaal. Ntwagaae, Unjani, how are you, brother?
I'm well, you, brother Graeme. Well, my brother.
Haven't spoken to you in such a long time. I think the last time we saw each other in person was during the pandemic. But anyway, that's a story for another time. Look,
I remember that.
The saga that you're focusing on at the moment in Ntwagaae, it's really intensifying. We know 40-year-old Martha Rantsofu, this mom of one, was assassinated in late March at a tyre shop in Vanderbijl Park. Rantsofu's work as a junior finance administrator in the Emfuleni municipality focused on debt issues in the Gauteng council, and she was laid to rest finally over the weekend. But her story has since evolved. Tell us, earlier this year she met with the CEO of the Vaal Business Corporation, Klippies Kritzinger. What did they discuss and what did he reveal to you?
This is a bit complex, but we're going to need some time to explain to you. How they met is that Martha, she works in the finance department. Part of her job entails debt reviewing customers who owe the municipality or who are battling to pay the municipality, and also those who have disputes on their accounts with the municipality. However, among those who have disputes that are accusing the municipality of overbilling them are Klippies. Now, Klippies, as a person who had raised disputes that he was overbilled by the municipality, therefore his name was on the list of those who complained. However, Klippies later appointed a third party because he's a busy man, a third party that will look into his municipal account. In February, he received a call from Martha that his account has been settled. However, the municipality has not received funds showing that that account had been legally or officially settled. That's when Klippies went to the municipality to inquire. How can his account be settled? And then there's no funds that went into that municipal account under his reference number or home address.
So in a nutshell, what did he reveal about what they uncovered?
And then while there, that's when Martha told him that there is people, you are not the only one who's complaining about this. However, upon perusing this thing, together as a pair, they've established that the person behind this is an ex-employee who was dismissed by the municipality. Then Martha revealed to Klippies that what these people would do, there's a syndicate within the municipality, which is led by some officials within the municipality. What they would do is that they would approach Ntwagaae and say to Ntwagaae, you owe us 100,000 rand. Therefore, for us not to cut your services, or for us, we can assist you by settling your debt. And then when in return, as a user of municipal services, you'll pay us a certain fee. Now, this is what these people are doing on a daily basis. They do it on big businesses. This is what was confirmed by or alleged by Clip, is that some municipal officials, they go into big businesses in the Vaal, kind of extort people to say, you owe us 10 million rand. Then in those 10 million rand, please pay us 1 million rand. Then we can squash, or we will remove, or will remove your debt. Therefore, you'll be square up with us on 0-0.
Sure. What are you telling me at this time? Yay. But I mean, look, I think for the purposes of our chat, Ntwagaae, very important to also just tell the listeners, all of this is allegations up for investigation at this point. Look, debt wipes for bribes is one thing, but there's also been a lot of reporting on this municipal fleet contract. Very dodgy indeed. The 16 million rand deal from the municipality to procure some 17 vehicles. They ended up only getting 6 from controversial tenderpreneur Mpho Edward Malema. Was Rantsofu also closely looking at this municipal fleet contract? What do we know here?
From what I gathered on this, I can't categorically state that she's part of those who exposed it. I can't rule that out. However, from what I gathered is that she flagged, there is a recent fleet. This happened many years ago, this 60 million rand fleet. There's a similar tender. However, vehicles were delivered to the municipality this time. But there is some scrupulous dealings that happened to secure that contract. Those vehicles, I think, they arrived between January and February this year. They were delivered. However, Martha flagged that the amount, among those things that she flagged, that the amount, the condition of the cars, because we're just waiting for confirmation from our sources. Some of those cars, they already used vehicles. They were not new vehicles, as the municipality has claimed. However, now we don't want to go much into this thing, because this is part of one of the cases that is being investigated by the PKTT. Let's rather, for me and you, to safeguard ourselves and to safeguard the investigations, that let's rather say, Graeme, that Martha uncovered scrupulous dealings on that new tender that was secured in the beginning of the year.
Okay. I'm sure a lot more is going to come out in the wash in Ntwagaae, I'm sure.
For our readers, I can say to our readers is that she had uncovered that the recent tender of a fleet of vehicles was scrupulous. And it's among the things that she had informed the Hawks to investigate.
Okay. I'm hearing you loud and clear. Okay, meanwhile, Makuzonke Sangweni, the Emfuleni municipal spokesperson, very vocal, defiant, emphatic that the Rantsofu is not a whistleblower in your latest reporting in Ntwagaae. Can we talk about this ridiculous quote? And I'm calling it ridiculous from your reporting yesterday. Quote unquote, I'm going to quote this and then we can react to it. It's worrying that the media wants to make a story about this while there are many other deaths in society and the municipality. This makes us believe News 24 is targeting Emfuleni for political agendas. No further comment on this matter except that the media can contact the family for any other information. And then in today's reporting goes on to say that Rantsofu, according to this municipal spokesperson, is not a whistleblower. How do you counter that based on the interviews that you've had with the family?
From what I gathered from the family is that I think maybe Makosonke is under pressure from someone within the municipality, someone senior, to respond the way he responded. However, I don't blame the guy. The guy is under pressure from News 24 in particular. I've been hammering him with a barrage of media inquiries almost twice a week. The guy, at some stage, said, I'm pushing a political agenda. He's accusing me of pushing a political agenda. He would say sometimes we bring stories without substance. Then I'll send him videos to show what we're reporting on. But on this matter, I find it bizarre and in a sense that it's inhumane. I mean, the guy lost a colleague. The lady was a colleague, was a friend, not literally a friend, but was a colleague, and a person that was entrusted with the municipal coffers. Working with municipal finances, you are a person who's trustworthy. However, for him to respond the way he responded is because of, I think that they, as a municipality, don't view in serious light how this woman was murdered, number one. Number two, they're not even keen to know why was this woman murdered. Either they know why she was murdered and are worried that this will come out in the open. Those could be some of my assessment when I assessed his response. However, to add more to that is that, remember, this municipality is under threat from exposure from the media and other members of the society, including the Gauteng Premier, who mentioned that this municipality is untenable. It's a municipality that exists by name and salary. Don't forget that one other thing, this municipality's account has been attached for I don't know for how many times now by Rainwater.
And still under national administration, is that right, Ntwagaae?
Yeah, yes, they are under administration, however, not full administration. In actual sense, this municipality should have been under full admin.
Okay.
Or maybe they must disband it and go for fresh elections, because there's nothing to show that people of the Vaal live under admin. There's nothing. From rate collection to service delivery, nothing. A municipality that has one waste dump.
Yeah, it's untenable.
One dump site.
Yeah, and we're going to get more to that in the next second. Tell me quickly on Martha's murder at this stage. What is her family saying, and what are the Hawks or the authorities saying in regards to the investigation at this stage? What do we know as fact?
From what I gathered from the family, it's so sad, in particular from a source that is from someone who was very close to. However, I didn't want to mention the identity of that person because Martha complained about this other scam that is happening in the municipality. She would see millions that would go into the revenue account of the municipality. But those millions don't have reference. It will be money that comes from anywhere, just flying and lands on the municipality's revenue account. And whenever she inquires about that or flag that to her seniors, within hours, those funds have disappeared. That's one of the things. Secondly, her brother said that she felt unsafe. She felt that her seniors were ill-treating her, making her do more work that should have been done by someone senior. And also the way she was being treated by her colleagues, it was like they were suspecting that she was not part of the team. The team, I mean that those who are on the side of the management. But now, what's interesting, another thing is that during a funeral, a colleague told mourners that, guys, please, let's tell the family the truth why Martha was murdered.
And what does that say in regards to this? Because, I mean, there was a video of the murder that did the rounds. And I initially, like my red flag went up in my mind when I first saw the reporting that you brought to us at News 24. Why was this video so quickly publicly accessible? What do you know about this video actually showing Martha being murdered?
Let me tell you something about this video. Initially, the family caught the video that the family saw was blurry. It was not clear. And this video was handed to the police. However, this second video that emerged recently, the family became to know about it from Martha's colleague that they received it in their WhatsApp group at work. Therefore, colleagues think that the person who posted that video on their WhatsApp group is indirectly intimidating other whistleblowers that if you dare mention these things, this is how you will end up. Sure. This is what I got from the family.
Yeah. Okay, no rests at this stage, right? Gauteng's political killing task team is investigating. Let's hone in on this. A bridge that was supposed to be erected for the Sebokeng township, that million set aside, it's come to nothing. Cemeteries, millions set aside to clean up cemeteries, and to fix walls and gates, and to ensure security guards are there to keep the peace and to also mow the lawns. That's apparently come to nothing. Waste is piling up at the gates of the municipal offices there. That's not being cleaned up. How bad is the situation in the Vaal? I mean, your reporting is testament to this. You're doing the Lord's work at the moment.
Let me be honest with you, Graeme. If you think that there is a municipality in the Vaal, you are lying to yourself. You are lying to yourself. There's nothing. You know, this is just the tip of an iceberg. These people in the Vaal, they live under squalor conditions, very poor, unhygienic, from blocked sewage, from leaking sewage, from disrupted electricity supply, water supply, poor quality water supply, streets riddled with potholes, grass. No, the list is endless. It will take me a Bible to write all the wrong things that are happening there. And you go to cemeteries. Some cemeteries are flooded because of sewer waste that is meant to go into sewer pipes. They just flow into cemeteries. Cemeteries that are meant to be cleaned and cut are untidy. You've got a section in that was what it pained me. There's a section in the Van der Bijl Park Cemetery where cremated remains of people were kept somewhere. That wall has been destroyed, and those human ashes are gone. Where was security? Poor security guys who are supposed to guard cemeteries, they don't have guard rooms. Number one, they don't have ablution facilities. They don't have safety on their own. And they also work under fear of big snakes. The Vaal has they've got very, very venomous snakes. That are because you know one thing that I've uncovered is that, I'm sorry if I talk too long. You know, when you're living in a filthy area, you've got those the rankles. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly.
Rankles, snakes. Yeah,
rankles are many in the Vaal, many of them. Why? Because they feed on rats. Therefore, people dump anyway. By dumping anywhere, automatically they are obliviously breeding rats. And you know that biologically rats are one of those animals that multiply very quickly. Therefore, rats attract rankles. What happens to rankles if they can't feed on rats? They look at the nearest target. All because of Emfuleni not doing what is meant to do constitutionally. That you could go to Vereniging. Vereniging, if you remember, this is where the constitution was signed. You go there, not far from the monument where the constitution was signed. Streets are blocked or are closed. There's some streets that you can't access because of leaking sewer or potholes, or maybe there was a contract. I remember there was a contract that was meant to replace all sewer pipes. They just dug holes and left it there. Streets are closed in Vereeniging. There are some roads in Van der Bijl Park that are not accessible. In Sebokeng, in Everton, in Sharpeville, the area is filled. There's nothing that functions from that municipality.
Yeah, such historic parts of the world, Ntwagaae, and it's absolutely tragic and sad that this is the level of absolutely non-existent service delivery that people there have to contend with, notwithstanding the crime situation. I mean, it's been a reoccurring theme in recent years that Sebokeng locals have been up in arms about the spiraling crime situation and calling for people like KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner and Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi to come and clean up the mess there, right?
Yes, they did, and this is on many occasions because from what they told us that they are aware that they do have their Gauteng Provincial Commissioner, which is Lieutenant General Toby Mtombe. However, they felt that police in the Vaal are doing nothing, and I don't blame them. I mean, if you're living in an unsafe area, what must you do? They look at what KZN is doing. They feel like they were in KZN where crime is being faced head on, or criminals are being targeted toe to toe. However, go to the Vaal. There's nothing successful to write about the Vaal. Nothing at all.
Nearly, let's end off here. And I mean, there are two facts that I think we can't avoid. Nearly 700 million rand spent on internal staff overtime for Emfuleni local municipality since the pandemic. How does the council explain that?
I'm not laughing because this is fun. I'm laughing because I was not expecting. This is very shameful. You know, this happened during COVID. However, if you look into it, most of the money were paid during COVID. If you remember very well, there was restriction of movement of people during COVID.
Yeah.
Now the question is, what were they doing? And into that again, I spoke to paramedics. I spoke to people who work in the electrical department, in the water department. They've never seen none. They've never seen a cent from that so-called overtime. This is from what I gathered from King Sol Chabalala, who happens to be very, very proactive and positive towards us with more information and response, is that this is one of the scams or schemes or syndicate that senior management use to steal municipal money. Remember, the municipality is also notorious of returning funds that are meant for service delivery back into national treasure. You know why they're doing that, Graeme? You know why that they would return as much as 600 million back to the coffers of government? It's because of most of the money that goes into Emfuleni, it goes to salaries. It doesn't go to service people who deserve service delivery. It goes to salaries. Therefore, they calculate that from the 1st of April 2026 until the 31st of March 2027, this is how much we're expecting to pay for salaries. Therefore, in between, we're going to steal this much. Then they take the balance back to treasury.
Yeah, that pains me. Let's end here. I mean, notwithstanding, and you've already alluded to this, Ntwagaae, 1.7 billion rand bill owed to Rand Water. I mean, I can't see that ever getting paid unless national government and treasury sort of steps in, all while there's concerns about the pollution of the Vaal River ecosystem due to the piling, waste scenario. I mean, how is this not talked about a lot more, especially as we move to municipal elections later this year? I don't know. For me, I feel like this is an indictment on the ANC's municipal legacy. And I've got nothing else to say.
Even if God were to land in Emfuleni, they can't even afford to pay that. What is happening is that Rand Water tried on many occasions to rescue them. They offered them vehicles. They offered them skilled engineers to assist with block drainages and also Rand Water infrastructure. They assist them on many occasions. Gauteng government had tried on many times to rescue this municipality. However, funds disappear on a daily basis through these schemes that I've been reporting about. They'll say we spend this on that. We spend money that is meant to, let's say for example, these people can't even collect revenue. They can't even collect. People want to pay. People will tell you, we want to pay for services. But why must I pay? What must I pay for if I don't get access to it? If my waste is not collected every month. If I don't have, in the Vaal, there are areas that don't have wheelie pins. There were tenders that were issued before that say that the municipality is going to buy wheelie pins. However, there are no wheelie pins in the Vaal. You go to people who call themselves Save the Vaal. These people, there's a court case now that's supposed to go to court either this month or next month. They've taken the municipality back into court because this municipality is polluting the Vaal River on a daily basis. How? It's because of human experimental waste that is supposed to go to the treatment plant. The municipality directs it into the Vaal River.
Yeah, a very sad state of affairs. This is my final question, and Ntwagaae, I'm going to let you go, and you can give me a 1-minute answer. Why do you think this is such a neglected part of Gauteng? You could argue, notwithstanding, a handful of great media reports that, you yourself have penned, but you could argue that, affairs that happen in the Vaal don't seemingly make the national headlines, or at least in contemporary, memory. Why do you think it's such a neglected part of the world? It's because Joburg and maybe, Tshwane take up a huge chunk of the media's attention, maybe?
No, let me put it in a township analogy. Let's say you have 3 kids. 2 are academics and are doing well. And then you have one, the third one is a Nyaupe addict who is into drugs. You have taken him to many rehabs you can name in the country. You have taken him to churches. You have taken him anywhere, tried to save him. And he still goes back to drugs. This is a simple analogy I'll give you about Emfuleni. National government came into place. The army was deployed to rescue the municipality. There was a task team that was employed by national government to intervene. The president, former president Jacob Zuma, tried to intervene. Gauteng province had tried on many occasions. Eskom came on board. Rand Water came on. That thing is not rehabilitable. Why? The ANC government doesn't care. Because if the ANC cared enough, they would not have allowed the same delegates who are there representing the African National Congress to lead that municipality. Because if they really cared about the people of the Vaal, they should have opened criminal cases against these people. Where's the Human Rights Commission in this? It's nowhere to be seen. Where's the public protector? Nowhere to be seen. I mean, Graeme, logic will tell you, if you as Graeme, You live in let's say for example, you live in a 1 million rand house. But however, outside your house, the sewer flowing. You can't even access your house. When it rains, you can't even drive outside. Your car must be inside. Minibus taxis can't use some main roads. Monies have been pumped to fix those roads, but there's no service delivery. The problem lies with national and provincial government. If they can take these people to task, and all those so-called service providers, because apparently some of the chunk of their budget go to service providers. Who are those service providers? What are they doing? Do they have are they compliant? Do they render service? Because from one of the stories that we did, that there are companies that are employed to unblock sewer. But if you go there, Rainwater says, no, we're unblocking the sewer. But on the other hand, the municipality is spending millions paying people. The municipality says, we are paying service providers to clean cemeteries. But in the same municipality, there is a team that is employed to clean municipalities. Those service provider goes collect money. He or she doesn't cut the grass. She doesn't erect the fence. She doesn't ensure the place is safe. Then there are also employees. Where must the employees work? Subsequent to that, the same employees, the municipality say, no, we pay them overtime on what work they've done. Because most of the work is done by service providers if you look to their books.
Yeah, what a compounding situation. I have no words. All I can say really is, Ntwagaae, I'd love to come up and do some of the journalism with you and see it all for myself on the ground. I miss seeing you out in the field. Please keep safe and continue this amazing journalism, amazing work. I'm sure we're going to have a lot more chats right here on The Lead on News 24. And Nkosi kakhulu, Kialaboa Ngiabonga. Chat soon, brother.
Salute, my brother. Thanks very much. God bless you.
And finally,
ending off now with On This Day in South African History, that's courtesy the SA History online database. The late icon Desmond Tutu was on this very day, the 14th of April 1986, formally elected to lead the Anglican Church as Bishop of Cape Town, thereby becoming the establishment's first black archbishop. His enthronement only came late in September, though, at a special ceremony held at the historic St. George's Cathedral in Cape Town. We was quoted as saying, quote unquote, a person is a person because he recognizes others as persons, in which he also wholly denounced the apartheid regime. Tutu held this post during some turbulent times in South Africa before retiring a decade later in 1996, in which he then took on the critical post as chairperson of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. A Nobel Peace Prize laureate, Tutu, if you'd recall, sadly died at the age of 90 in December of 2021. Well, that feels like a lifetime ago, and one can definitely feel the absence of his powerful voice of reason today. And now for the answer to Rauby's pointless bike quiz, and we asked which country are Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, visiting in their very first trip since ending things with the royal family. That answer is none other than down under Australia. Well, it's a trip of both business and pleasure. It's reported by AFP, with a stop by a children's hospital, a summit on mental health, as well as Meghan's swanky yoga retreat / girls weekend in an upmarket beach lodge. Still, their presence down under has sparked some local ire, with the Victoria State opposition leader crying foul over the use of state taxes to apparently protect the pair on their movements. Well done. If this was your answer all along, you get no prizes. Perhaps, though, you can pat yourself in the back and be the most informed person around the Bribe place. Some would say that's pretty priceless indeed. Got something to share? Drop us a mail at theleader24.com. Drop us a comment below. And note that each show is quality checked by a senior member and or editor of News 24, and we generally adhere to the basic rules set out by the Press Ombudsman as well as the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. 2 more editions to go this week, including Newsmaker Thursday, so look out for that. My name's Graeme Robenheimer. So long as there's trusted news first, we'll have The Lead.
To know when the next episode drops, hit the like, follow, and subscribe buttons on our YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast channels.